Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Chamberlain, the Air Force guy here this evening. Lots of great information to go over here this evening. So listen, if you're here live, hopefully you've signed in for a Google or YouTube account so that you can chime in at the chat. If you are here watching, please do, as you come in, announce yourself, tell me your name and where you are from. For those of you that are watching on replay, please comment down below. And also for those of you first time here watching, please consider to subscribe and click that bell so you're notified of my updated videos. So I don't just do lives, but my lives are every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So let's go ahead and see who's in the house here this evening. And we had Mr. Schubert, 1776, in the house. He made it here early. Made it here before I even got here. How about that? Great job, Steve. Oh, things are going to be moving quick here. We have Steve Feldman. He's in the house. Good evening, Steve. Glad you made it. Let's see here. Yeah, this thing's moving quick, right? We've got Kent Grander in the house. Good evening. And there's Randy out there from Minnesota. Appreciate you joining us here, Randy. JLS Love Life out there in Texas joining us. I think I got somebody new here. We've got Speedy BNA from Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everything's going well down there for you. Nursing our travel blog. I appreciate you joining us here this evening. You say, I'm going to go over some good information here because there is a lot of bad information out there. I want to make sure that we cover it for you. Donna Delahanty from there, from Arizona here. Good evening. And let's see, we got Jahan from Hawaii, but over in Oregon right now. That's wonderful. You have 24 Dynamax. I'll tell you what, they're a nice unit. Built very, very well, that's for sure. Brian Matthews, and boy, I'll tell you what, he came by, picked up his 17-inch Blackstone griddle. He cooked something right in front of me. He had his dang propane tank. Man, he was not waiting any time to go ahead and cook something up on that bad boy. So Mike is in the house. Good evening, sir. Glad you made it here. Connie, glad you made it. Yes, it was very nice to see you at the show as well. I saw there were a couple people that made it to the show, and it was nice. I appreciate everybody coming up and talking to me. Chuck Ash is in the show here as well. So what I want to start off with here this evening first, and by the way, if you have any questions, if you just hold them for a little bit, and I'll be sure to get to them. I did have somebody reach out to me before the show, and I'll be answering their question here after I go over what the show was set up to be. And that's about Four Season Campers. Now, before I get into Four Season Campers, and let me just see something here. Get that scroll going on there. Before I get into that, what I wanted to do was I wanted to go over, give you the great news. Finally was able to talk with the CEO of Make-A-Wish Mid-Atlantic today. We've got things scheduled. Going to be Thursday, October 15th at 7:30. So I'll put that information down below here as well. So do put that on your calendars. You're not going to want to miss that show. It's going to be a great show. I'll tell you, there's a great organization. They do a lot of things for sick children. And I think that they're probably one of the very misunderstood organization. And I want to kind of bring that to light and see what we can do to help them moving forward. Because, as with everything going on now, there's limited places and things that these sick children can do for Make-A-Wish. And so one of the resources they have is getting a camper. Now, the benefit of getting a camper is it's not going to be a one-time thing where it's a week and you're done. So they're going to be able to, as I always say, they're going to be able to make memories that are going to last a lifetime. And that's what it's all about, really. So without any further ado, let's talk about, and let me bring up my thing here. We're going to talk about Four Season Campers. And I need to find where the heck my stuff moved on me because everything moved around on me. There we go. So let's add this to the screen here. I'm going to bring this up. So, when people are talking about four-season campers, it's not just because people are concerned with winter. I mean, that's the first thing that people think about is winter. But, winter is probably one of the most cautious, probably where you're going to have to spend a lot more doing things so that you can make them a true four-season camper. And I'm going to go over a couple examples of customers that I've had in the past and what they have done so that they were able to get through it. But I'm going to try to give you enough information so that you can make an educated decision. Now, one thing for sure is, when you're looking at these things, is a four-season camper with the benefit to you is that you're also going to have, once I find my next, the things moved around to me. The benefit you have with a four-season camper isn't just for winter camping. By having the extra insulation, that is going to benefit you in warmer climates as well. So I know that a lot of you might think that you need a four-season camper, but you were thinking more cold weather. Well, it is also going to benefit you in warmer weather as well. Now, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there when you go look on the sides of these campers. You'll see things like this: Arctic insulation, four-season protection, WeatherTech, Arctic insulation, Arctic barrier, Polar Plus. I mean, you see all these different terminology for um, for insulated campers, and sometimes they do not give you the justice. Now, there are some out there that'll go ahead and do something like this. Let me see how this thing comes up here. So you see where it says Polar Pack, extended season protection. And ladies and gentlemen, the majority of these campers out there that say Polar Package or Arctic insulation or winter, whatever they say on the side, that's really what they are made for, is extended camping season. Now, with that said, with that being said, I've had people that have actually used campers that were not, quote, four-season campers, and they've used them. And I'm talking about this area. So PA, northern Maryland area or mid-Maryland. But there's precautions that they took so that they were able to do it without having things freezing on them. And that's what we're going to go over here today. So let me talk to you a little bit about what you need to look for. Because when you're looking at something, if you were to see this, and and I'm not picking on any one particular brand here. It's just this is what I have a lot available, and so I just wanted to go ahead and show you things that you need to consider if, in fact, you come up against this and you're looking for something for cold weather camping. So this thing said Arctic barrier, heated and insulated for cold weather camping. Well, that all sounds so well and good, doesn't it? And what they're meaning by that is that, look, see, they have an enclosed underbelly. Now, the enclosed underbelly doesn't necessarily mean that it's heated. In some of these campers, I've had actually manufacturer reps tell me, "Well, Paul, it's four seasons. It's a heated underbelly, because it's enclosed." By the way, all that is corrugated plastic underneath there, by the way. And I ask them, "Well, how's the underbelly heated?" And they'll say, "Well, Paul, you know the heat ducts that run down the center of the camper, right?" I say, "Yeah." He says, "Well, the heat radiates off that ductwork." I said, "Oh, that's really good." I said, "The problem with that, which way does heat radiate? It doesn't radiate down. It radiates up." So the question to ask when somebody tells you have a heated and enclosed underbelly is it blown in heat? Or does it have heat pads on the tanks, or both? because both is actually the way you really want it if you were going to be doing 4-season camping. So next, what you have is take a look something here that you'd be looking at is where are the poles for this? Give me a second here. My screen is taking a moment. By the way, I just ordered my new computer. I'm looking so forward looking for that because I'm not going to have these issues. I thought that was going to be coming up, but maybe not. Let's see if it'll come up on this one here. So what's happening is, computer's going a little slow here this evening. There it is. So as you can see, the pole is up underneath. It's still up. The actual, the lever is out in the open, but the pole itself, or the sliding part for the drain, is up in the underbelly, which is beneficial. However, this camper, although it said it had the Arctic package, the problem you're going to run into is this is where their hookup for the water is. It is in the side of the camper. So there's really no way to heat this other than if there's access up underneath of, a kitchen sink or a bathroom cabinet or something along those lines. This stuff is exposed. So something you need to word to the wise if you're looking at a camper such as that. Now, I'm going to show you something that's a little step up from this and explain to you a benefit to that. So another one that's going to do is you'll see something that says Arctic insulation, 4 seasons protection. Now understand, what a lot of these companies tell you 4 seasons protection, what they have done typically through a third party is they have tested their units in extreme weathers. Now we have some, for this particular one, it was tested at 15 degrees. So understand that's not 0 degrees. It was 15 degrees and it worked just fine. We have others that are tested at 0 degrees. But now what makes it beneficial here is the fact that where you're going to hook up your water is up inside. Now the water where you're coming up, I'm going to make it bigger so you guys can see it a little better. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. So what you're doing is down here in the bottom, this is where the water hose would come up underneath, which is by this outside shower. And it's really not outside. It's actually inside your compartment. Now, the nice thing with this particular one here is the fact that right above that, where you see the red thing that's plugged in the wall, above that is a 110 outlet. Now, why is that beneficial to you? It's beneficial to you in 2 ways. One, if you have your heated water hose, you're able to plug it in when you're hooking it up to your camper. 2, if you were to want to put a ceramic heater in this underbelly to help keep this area warm, you're able to do that. So that is a benefit of something along these lines, and you'd be much more beneficial using this style of a camper in cold weather. Now, of course, underneath this camper, the poles will be down under here. You're also going to have low point drains you're going to need to be contending with. That's another story. But you're still, the differences on this particular one is that this is an actual heated and enclosed underbelly, meaning it's actually going to have blown in heat down below. So that would be much more beneficial to you. Now, the next thing you're going to be looking at is we have, let me open it up here, Montana High Country. Now, these, again, the Montana series, they're 4-season living like they say they are, okay? And they have the 4-season package on it. Now, they do things a little bit differently, which is more beneficial for those of you that want to have true 4-season camping. Because what you're doing is, this is where you're going to have your poles. They're above the floor. And they actually have 2 great tanks. I'm going to show you the next one. But now this is an area where behind the wall, where the fixtures are, it's heated. The heat is being blown into that area. So it's going to keep this area, your outside shower, your hookups for both your black tank and your city water, is going to keep all that stuff from freezing. On top of that, their other pole, which they do not have in that particular location, they have it actually up underneath. They have it up underneath through another thing, and you can see that the pull is coming through, actually through the frame on the camper. So that one would be beneficial for you. Now, when you're looking at something, just because they say that it's Polar Plus, and you see it has all the seasons on there, doesn't it? But the thing you want to be careful of, you always want it when you see something like that, you want to always look and see, okay, where's the water source? Where are the poles? And as again, you can see the poles are up above, they're above the floor line. So they're, and it's in the underbelly, which is going to be helping you as far as heating and so forth. So, oh, my wife's going to try and help me here. So you can actually see, so I can see when things are actually popping up. I guess I'm getting a little ahead of the game here. I'm going to try and slow it down on that. Now, lastly, I just want to go over, she's showing me here when we get it here, this is what they call WeatherTech Arctic insulation. 4 seasons protection. Now, again, this is a great way if you're looking for something, you're going to be able to tell when you look at this because of the fact of where you're going to be hooking up your water. And you're going to notice that you have an actual heat vent blowing right into this area. Now, I highly recommend that you, down the bottom here, you see that's where your hose is going to come up through. I would highly recommend that you insulate around that. Of course, you're going to have a heated hose, but insulate so you don't have cold air coming in this area. So this is where you're hooking the water up. Now, the poles are not in this area on this particular one because they're going to be in the back, but I'm going to show you. And again, you have another outlet that's up above on the right-hand side in this compartment. So for your heated water hose, you're going to be able to go ahead and connect to that. So, by the way, so this particular one is a Momentum. Now, their poles are going to be back in a rear storage compartment. And I want to go ahead and pull this up. Now, the benefit to you there is the other side, what you're able to do is you have access to a 110 plug, and you'll be able to actually set a ceramic heater in this storage area. Now, there's already some heat being blown in here. It's hard to see, but there's actually some heat being blown in this area on this particular model. But on the other side, let me show you what the other side looked like. So this is the other side, right behind that TV. By the way, these are insulated doors. Right behind the TV there, you'd be able to just plug right in and have a ceramic heater for that underbelly. So that would be that particular one. Now, the problem that I think people run into when you see 4-season camper is this. If you plan on doing a 4-season camper and you say, Paul, I'm going to go to Maine like in, let's say, December. Then from there, I want to run over to Michigan. Then I want to run over maybe to Montana. That's a whole different ballgame. These 4-season campers are great if you're staying in one location. When you're moving around, understand, I didn't have time to go ahead and do the math, but understand wind chill. If you're pulling your camper and it's 15 degrees out and you're pulling it at 50, 60 mile an hour, you can imagine the wind chill under your camper, around your camper, and so forth. So really the only way you're going to be able to do that, even if you have a 4-season camper, is you're really going to have to either have heat pads, have everything, and then maybe try to get rid of the water. But my recommendation to people that are going to be pulling them is to go ahead and winterize it before you leave one campground, and then de-winterize it when you get to the next. That is a for sure way of ensuring that you're not going to have an issue. Because I don't think anybody can guarantee that if you have a 4-season camper, that while you're pulling it with water in it in 15-degree or 0-degree weather, that's going to hold up. Now, let's talk about some of the things that you're going to need that you need to do, that you need to be careful of on the outside of your camper. I talked about a couple of them here earlier, but so the number one thing is we're going to talk about here, trying to get it up nice and big there. Let me see if it's coming up any larger. There we go. Is your low point drains. This is something you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that you insulate them. Maybe put some heat tape on them. You've got to be careful of these. Next thing that you're going to be talking about, for those of you, now not everybody has this next item, but for those of you that do, you want to make sure that if you have an outside kitchen, that you make sure that you keep an eye on this area, keep it heated. If you have to, maybe winterize it and then don't use it. Might be a benefit to you. And lastly, last thing that you want to go ahead and be watching for is your outside shower, because this stuff is not insulated. You might want to consider even disconnecting it so that you don't have water in that area. And then, of course, putting a lot of insulation around it to keep that from creating a problem. One last thing for those of you that might have something like this, and that is if you have an ice maker for your refrigerator, you're going to have a water line coming up on the backside of your refrigerator. You're going to need to make sure that you do something for that, whether it's insulating it, whether it's heat tape, or whether you're just going to disconnect it. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, Paul, what can we do? Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get yourself, once it gets up here, it's a heated, geez Louise, this thing's taking me forever here, folks. Apologize for the delay here. Try this again. Here it is. You're gonna want to get yourself. Is it coming up there, Maureen?
Yeah.
There it is. You're going to want to get yourself a heated drinking water hose. Now, as you can see, this one is freeze protected down at 20 degrees. Now, they come in different lengths. This one's just showing 12 feet. Obviously, you're going to have to go ahead and figure out what's going to work for you, what you're going to need. Most people getting at least 25 feet. Maybe you're going to go and get 225s or get a 50-footer if you could. Now, you might want to say, well, Paul, how are we supposed to go ahead and heat the sewer hose? So they do have heated sewer hose, but as you can see, that's what I'm showing you. It is a much smaller hose. If you were going to go this route, you're going to have to hook up some other type of a discharge, and typically it's one of those shredder type, I forget the name of it, but where you hook up and it's going to go ahead and chew everything up, pressurize it, and spit it out. So that's one way, using heat tape around it in insulation. And by the way, I have a video down below on how to install one of those. And then another thing you could do, they have these heat lines. This is a heated line. And what you're able to do with this is actually just run it along your water hose. If you have just regular water hose, wrap it around your sewer hose, your pipes up underneath of the up underneath your camper, this is another option that you would have. Now, next, what you're going to want to do with this is you're going to want to skirt. If you're staying in one place, that's the best thing, is to skirt your RV. Skirting your RV is one of the best things you could do. It keeps the wind from going up underneath your RV. Now, as you can see, this one's they're just using type of a fabric. Now, I had a gentleman that he had a camper. It was not a 4-season camper, but he had somebody use wood that was insulated, and he put it all the way around his camper. He dug a hole, put a sewer hose into a hole. Fortunately, where he was camping with it, he was able to hook it up to septic, and so he was able to hook it under the ground, so he didn't have to worry about his hose freezing. Same thing with his water hose. He was able to take that, keep it under the underbelly, and also be able to not have to use the heated water hose. Now, the best thing you do if you're in that position also, as you can see, get one of those big LP tanks, because you're going to need it. Now, some people, what they do for insulation, before they skirt it, is they'll go ahead and get hay bales and put those around the outside. I wouldn't necessarily say that would be the best way right there, but if they put something else around it, that would be beneficial. Keep that wind, have some type of insulation factor from going underneath your camper. Now, I have seen some people with slide outs. They didn't go to this extreme with this, like this motorhome did. You see how they bought those insulated panels and put them around the camper? I've seen some people using those and also taping those like around their slide out walls to give them additional insulation on the slide out walls. So that's something else that you're able to do. Now, one last thing that you want to make sure that you do not forget when you are getting yourself set up for winter camping, and that is your water spigot, where you're getting the water from. Make sure you do something to that, because otherwise you could have a major major problem there. Now, you'll see in this particular picture here, where obviously this RV did not have a 110 plug on the RV side, so they were plugging in. Luckily, the water source was close enough where they could plug in to on that end there. So that's there. Now, I just want to go over, I've got a list of things to consider when ways to keep your RV from freezing. Now, I just came up with a few different ways here. So as you can see, obviously insulation on interior plumbing. That is one thing you're definitely going to want to do. The heat pads on your tanks. Now, the heat pads can be 12 volt, 110, skirting and insulating around your RV. Heated water hose, insulate and heat tape your water source. Insulation and heat tape on your sewer hose. Heat tape or something on your outside shower kitchen. Leave cabinets slightly open on the inside in your bathroom, as well as like your kitchen. Ceramic heaters in your storage area. Now, for those of you that might think that is too much work, there is a solution, and that is go south for the winter. It's easy as that. And you don't have to worry about any of that. Which one do you like? So what I've done is below this video is I've went ahead and added a few videos from people that went ahead and went over ways to protect your RV from freezing. And so if you want to actually look at people actually doing those things, those would be a great resource. Fortunately, I haven't done any of those yet, but hopefully that helps. Now, Maureen, was there any questions we had here? Okay.
Nursing and travel book. Are those the levers for all the tanks from previous?
All right, hold on. Somebody's questioning here. Here we go. What was the question?
I had a rough day today.
She had a rough day. Didn't we all? Anyway, so we had a question.
From nursing her travel book.
All right, so the question was?
Are those levers for all tanks in the previous picture?
Well, so they were. So you have some levers are up above the floor and some of them are down below underneath of your camper. So yes, that is true. The little poles you're gonna have for your black tank, you have gray tank.
What is heat tape?
Heat tape, and I was gonna go ahead and put that up. Well, my recommendation, and I apologize, just put in your search. And by the way, Lowe's and Home Depot have heat tape on hand as well. But just Google it, and it's stuff that you're able to put around your sources or your water sources on the outside. I tend to like actual versus heat tape. I like the electric style heat. I think, in my opinion, it's probably a better bet. What else was there?
Randy's Adventures made a comment.
Okay, and where are we? I'm looking to see. By the way, appreciate everybody else that's in the house after we got started. Appreciate Jahan saying, hit that like button for me. I appreciate that. Thank you there, Jahan. See, Weekend RVing is in the house. Colleen D checking in from PA. Appreciate that. Absolutely is. Kathy Peel is in the house. Thank you for joining us. And let's see here. Randy, was this thank you for the support? Oh, thank you, Randy. Well, and I thank you, by the way. And that did get in there. What was there, another one?
Yes, Randy's. I love winter camping in Minnesota. I winterize my LGM so water freezing isn't an issue. I'd love a bulletproof system, but I rough it. And winter camping is some of my best memories.
There we go. I'll tell you what, check out Randy's Adventures. She'll show you how she does it. Great channel. She's a little guy, Max. And I'll tell you what, she knows how to do it. And she's not afraid to put her husband to work to shovel the snow drifts around their campsite to make sure that they have a fire. I'm serious about that, too.
Nursing or travel bug, you got to watch out for mice and rodents with hay bales.
Absolutely. That's absolutely, you certainly do. So keep that in mind. What you were saying?
KJ Han.
And let's see, I saw somebody else in here. Our Epic RV Adventures, and I know that they're down there in Disney World, if I'm not mistaken, down in Florida. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I know you got some great weather down there. RV Dog is in the house. Appreciate that. Appreciate you guys showing up. 1325T, hello there. Appreciate you coming in. Let's see, we got Michael Selhammer. There you go. Down there in Florida. Yeah, you don't need to be worried about that, right? Let's see, Wayne Kern is in the house. Wayne, you don't want to wait till after you retire. Do it now while you still can. Enjoy it. Linda Baker. Well, appreciate that, Linda, but thank you for coming in. We got AJ Camella's in the house. Good evening, sir. What was that?
I know, I'm looking for it. Okay, Jay Han.
Yes, got to say hi. Your wife is beautiful. Sorry, I'm a TACP. Did I miss one?
What about batteries? My batteries are in just the tray underneath the coach.
So the batteries, and see, batteries in the wintertime, you need to make sure that they're charged. Batteries will freeze if you're not charging them, or if they're not charged at all. So make sure that they're keeping a charge. That's one of the things you should be checking on a monthly basis. I'll be putting out a video on how to check your batteries and so forth. So stay tuned for that. But that's something you need to be careful of when you are checking your batteries. Let's see here also. That's all the things there. So the next thing I want to go over is I had somebody reach out to me, and their question was, how could they have a 50 amp coach or 50 amp cord. So, it's a 30-foot cord, And for those of you that might know, the 50 amp cords are pretty darn heavy. And there's always a possibility that they could walk off. So when you're at your house, you could buy this little adapter that'll plug into your camper, and then you can just run a heavy duty extension cord out to your camper. So that you could do that for 50. You can also do that on a 30 amp cord. So it's available for either one of them. I'll tell you, from having to save yourself from lugging that big cord out there, that is a great way of doing it. So hopefully that helps there. This mouse is driving me crazy. It doesn't want to go where I'm telling it to go here. But all right, did I miss any questions out there? Apologize if I did. If I did, please chime in. Be more than happy to try and answer them. And by the way, next week I'm going to have Girl Camper. And so this is the gal. It's Janine Pettit. I'll be putting out the thumbnail here, hopefully later tonight. But Janine Pettit herself from Girl Camper will be in the house talking about Girl Camper. So for all you single ladies out there, or even the married ladies that like to maybe get out camping with their husbands, you're definitely going to want to see this one. They got quite a heck of an organization. I spent last weekend with Girl Camper. It was Delmarva, meaning Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, out there at Bayshore Campground. If you want to check out the seminar I did, that's on my page. I know it's rather lengthy, so get your favorite adult beverage or your cup of coffee, sit down and enjoy. Lots of great information that I feel that it's important to know. So, but I'm going to have her on. And again, be sure that you put on there on your calendar, October. Well, and actually, I'm going to give you 4 dates. It's the third Thursday of every month, October, November, December, and January. Put those on your calendar because you're not going to want to miss those. Those are going to be the Thursday nights, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's going to be specifically directed to Make-A-Wish. I'm really looking forward. I'm really excited about this. As I was telling Leslie from Make-A-Wish, you know, a lot of us out there, we're very fortunate and we have it good. Matter of fact, we have it great. And there's people out there that are less fortunate than us. And it's always nice for those of us that are more fortunate to kind of maybe reach in our pockets and give a little bit back so that others can enjoy themselves as well. So anyway, I do appreciate everybody showing up here this evening. Any additional questions for me here this evening before we sign off? I don't want to sign off too quickly here, but I hope that you enjoyed it. Please do give me a thumbs up if you're liking what I'm going over here. And by the way, if there's a topic that you would like me to cover, be sure that you reach out to me, put a message down here. And remember, the first Thursday of every month is RV Trivia. Give away lots of prizes. 3 big prizes went out last month, or it was this month, but I'm looking forward to doing the same as that next month. So, and then let's see here. We have JS Love Life. Friend's daughter passed at 23, but she always is grateful for her Make-A-Wish. No doubt about that. I'll tell you, we have someone that works with me. Their son, he passed several years ago, and he did have a Make-A-Wish. And, that's something that you always keep in your memories. And I'll tell you, more and more of these families are going to be leaning towards RVs because that's just going to give them more opportunity as a family to do some outings. So,
No, wait,
So-
Wayne Kern,
Wayne Kern, let's see.
right above.
Are there brands that all motors are heated the right way close? No, there are not. There are brands that are, and that's the distinction you've got to make. If you were going to be looking at those that are more set up for that, your full profile fifth wheels are. You're going to find some that have travel trailers that way. But again, as I mentioned, I've had customers of mine that were in campers that were not 4-season, but they made them 4-season. They actually lived out of them. for the winter. So, but appreciate Tim Williams is in the house. Came in from PA. Appreciate that, Tim. So, but anyway, well, thank you, Randy. Let me say, I'm here just to, again, I try to educate the consumer. So that way there, you're not going out there and making the wrong decision. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. And if there's no more questions, we're going to be signing off here. Any other questions, Maureen?
No other questions.
No other questions here. So thanks again. And I'll be coming back at you again next Tuesday night. Take care.